Hey guys, and welcome back to the Aether Hub, where we got even more Rivals of Ixalan lore. Last episode, we discovered that some of the tribes on Ixalan have finally reached their goal, that being the golden city of Orazca, and the ancient relic known as the Immortal Sun. The power-hungry Merfolk of the River Heralds reached it first, but his slimy slippers were thrown through a goddamn window courtesy of Vona, a vampire of the Legion of Dusk. Of course, there are other parties involved, and in today's video we'll check in on two other interesting candidates looking to ascend to the Immortal Sun. Get it? It's a rivals mechanic pun. Whatever. This story is about Vraska and Jace. So the last time we saw these two poster children of Ixalan, they were less busy being the planeswalker faces of the new set and more occupied with falling off a freaking waterfall. They got involved with chasing the Immortal Sun using the thematic compass given to Vraska by Nicol Bolas. Shh, Jace doesn't know that yet. In fact, he doesn't know a lot still, him having amnesia and all. Well, that compass was stolen, then taken back a few times, and the end result was a massive wave conjured by the Shaper Tishana, the quote-unquote good River Herald, knocking the budding friends off of a cliff face. Vraska frantically searches for her telepathic friend, the pathetic pirate Jace, who before coming to Ixalan was pretty much just a wimp. But a wise wimp, having been an opponent of Vraska's back on Ravnica, stopping her murderous assault on the law and order of that plane. Now, however, under the guise presented to her in the form of his amnesia, Vraska has grown fond of who the real Jace is. That being a strong friend and ally, devoted, smart, loyal, and all around a good guy. Vraska seeks to keep his friendship. But there may not be much left to be friends with. Falling off a cliff tends to kill even planeswalkers. While alive, Jace was still in very bad shape. He hit his head, again. Man, someone should get this dude a helmet or something. And being a telepath, that of course means uncontrollable telepathic illusions and memory formations. Yay! As Jace convulses on the rocky outcrop, being tightly held by Vraska, the Gorgon begins to feel mournful. Not for the potential loss of her friend or his abilities, okay, yes, those things, but also because if Jace's memories would return, then he would remember her. The real her. The her he fought. The her who murdered innocent people just to send a message. He'd remember himself as the living guild pact, and hate her for everything she'd done despite what they've been through here on Ixalan. She feared for their friendship. From here out, the story goes into a collection of memories that flood back to Jace as his amnesia begins to wear off, and Vraska gets a front row seat to this illusionistic performance of Jace's life. A lot of this stuff we already know from his story and Magic Origins, but a lot of this is new to Jace himself, as he has had his memory wiped more times than he can count, by his hands and others. Jace barely knows who the real Jace is anymore, and this story is all about getting back to that base level Jace. Vraska witnesses the unspeakable, horrific events that have plagued Jace's life and made him the reserved man he is today. She sees him as a child, son to a loving mother and a cold father, pushed away from intellectual study but yearning to make his mother proud. She sees him use his telepathic abilities in assisting the Sphinx, Alhammaret, only to discover that his mentor had manipulated him into filling their coffers with gold and nothing more. Alhammaret had also known of Jace's planeswalking abilities far before the young child did, erasing his memories of his first planeswalk over and over again, keeping his tool nearby and very dependent. Vraska sees a young Jace finally breaking down and standing up to his mentor, crippling the Sphinx's mind and leaving him screaming in eternal mental agony. It brought Jace no joy, only more pain. She sees him as a teenager, sitting in a Gruul-controlled territory on Ravnica, his first time on the world that would eventually become a second home to him. The shaman paints him with traditional Gruul signals, the white, tattered design that would eventually make it to Jace's cloak, something near and dear to him, his first days of a new journey. Vraska learns of his relationship with Liliana Vess, a controlling, dark, manipulating force on Jace. Her words are like venom, pulling him in only at times it's convenient for her, and really, no one else. She screams at her friend to wake up, to see what Liliana and others were doing to him, to stand up again and fight for himself. But in this illusion, she was as powerless as he was. Finally, her greatest fear came to light. Her encounter with Jace on Ravnica. The murder of innocent people to get his attention. Her own plea to use his talents for her own purpose. She was a monster in that scene. She saw it. What he saw in her. A criminal, assassin, nothing more. In that moment, even she wanted to kill her past self. With this memory flooding back, there was no way their friendship could continue. He was gonna hate her. As much as I'd love to play out some hidden mystery or struggle Jace may have had with coming to terms with the fact that his friend, who he had spent some of the best months of his life with, was actually an assassin who tried to manipulate and kill him, well, that's just not the case. Jace kinda just wakes up, they have a little powwow about things, and he kinda just forgives her? I don't know, it's weird. It's like they talk about how they both have been abused and used and blah blah blah, and he's just like, oh yeah, okay, water under the bridge, buddy. Let's continue being awesome friends. I'm not buying it too much, but sure, whatever. Anyway, the pair hear the Golden City begin to awaken, aka Kumenas just stepped on the Immortal Sun and things start to shake. They gather up their things and run off to their destination. Oh, and a funny note here, apparently Jace has been augmenting himself with illusions, making himself look more buff than he actually is. Thus his card art in Ixalan being as scrawny as it is. Wonder how Liliana's gonna take that. So yeah, this was a weird part of the story, but an important one. Jace got his memories back, maybe not all of them, but at least some major ones. And he decides that he's not gonna be that man again. He's determined to be this new, swashbuckling Jace. One not afraid to stand up for himself. One that doesn't hide behind illusions. And with his friend Vraska by his side, he feels he can be that man he always was supposed to be. Anyway guys, let me know what you think about this story and the continued friendship between Jace and Vraska. Will it last, or is this the final summer of Jaska? Vrace? You know, these two. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave it a like, sub to the channel, and of course, share it across the multiverse. As always guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time here on the Aether Hub.